this next news story comes to us from Chris Pariah over at GameSpot. Indie game publisher Humble Games reportedly lays off all staff. The indie game publisher Humble Games has reportedly laid off its entire staff, which consists of 36 people. However, the company says it's not shutting down, but is instead restructuring our operations. Do we need to bring out a dictionary right now? I feel like if you don't have a staff and you're not supporting product, you don't have a company, right? Like that's kind of
you're closed. You're closed.
If there's a
you
close
cannot
sign
operate.
if there's a close on the door and business is not running as usual, it's shut down. Maybe temporarily, but you're shut down. Like that's kind of how that works. You're shut down, right?
Dude. What are we talking about?
Restructuring. According to a now former Humble Games senior quality assurance analyst, their entire team was let go. Another employee who was a producer also confirmed he was being laid off. The publisher previously underwent 2 rounds of layoffs, first in April 2022, then in November 2023. Oh wow, I didn't realize that there was already 2 other rounds of layoffs for them. In a statement shared with GameSpot, Humble Games confirmed that Humble Bundle will have no impact on its operations. Additionally, this is interesting. We're going to touch on another story here in a minute that coincides with this. But additionally, ongoing and upcoming games from Humble Games will still move ahead and be published by the company. Humble Games is a publisher of many notable indie games, including Stray Gods, Bo, Path of the Teal Lotus, Chinatown Detective Agency, Ikenfell, Unpacking, Slay the Spire, and Midnight Fight Express. Unpacking, a very good game. Slay the Spire, I've heard great things about. Really all those games, just to name a few. Humble Games is a separate publishing arm of digital storefront Humble Bundle. Both companies are owned by Ziff Davis, but operate as separate entities. Earlier this year, Ziff owned IGN Entertainment, also bought video game websites Eurogamer, Rock Paper Shotgun, VG247, GamesIndustry.biz, and Dicebreaker from the Gamer Network. So I thought that Ziff Davis bought Humble Games, but they didn't. IGN owns Humble Games.
Right.
So Ziff owns IGN, and then
I was
IGN...
gonna say, essentially, they do own Humble Games.
They do, but it's like a roundabout. It's like Ziff owns IGN, and IGN owns all of those news sites, which that's interesting. Right. Because from the outsider, you would think these are all competing news sites, when really they're all owned by IGN, which is wild to think about. I didn't realize that. I'm pretty sure... Now that I'm talking about it, we definitely did a story on this, but I'd forgotten about it. And then, the fact that they own all those news sites and they own Humble Games, and it's just shut down. It's just it. Soak 7 Plays says they bought Digital Foundry as well. I think I remember hearing that as well.
Really? IGN did?
Yeah.
Huh.
Or maybe Ziff Davis, one of the two. I mean, it's one of the same, basically.
I didn't think they would sell. That's crazy. I always... envision them as like some pretty independent dudes over there at Digital Foundry. So that makes me raise my eyebrow a little bit.
So going back to that statement, Humble Games confirmed that Humble Bundle will have no impact on its operation. Additionally, this is the important sentence right here. Additionally, ongoing and upcoming games from Humble Games will still move ahead and be published by the company. So even though all 36 people who are left in the company have been laid off, business as usual somehow, even though no one's there to answer the phones. Here's where we get to our next news story connected to this one here. Also from GameSpot by Virender Singh Jabal over GameSpot, like I said. Humble Games layoffs leave developer unable to update its game or release it on Switch. Earlier this week, it was announced that publisher Humble Games laid off its entire staff. This mass layoff did not solely affect its immediate staff, but also the developers and games under the publisher, such as the developer of Coral Island, now facing uncertainty regarding its Xbox, Switch, and PlayStation versions. Developer Stairway Games revealed in a statement that Humble Games layoff have left it unable to release updates for the console versions of the game due to Humble typically handling them. The team explained that an incoming hotfix is unable to be released outside of Steam, and that they really have no idea how to release this update to console players due to the lack of back-end permissions on those platforms. Stairway also acknowledged the long wait for the Switch port, which was announced for 2024, but is yet to be released. Here's their full statement. I'll just go ahead and read it. They posted on Twitter. We'd like to say, this is from Stairway, the developers of Coral Island. We'd like to say something to you today, given that Humble Games' recent restructuring leaves consoles in a place of uncertainty. However, we see this as an opportunity to share what we can. To start, We share in your frustrations regarding the lack of Nintendo Switch port of Coral Island. Over the years, there's a lot we've wanted to say in the spirit of transparency about many different things, but continue to be unable to do so because of the publishing agreement and NDA we have in place. The impact of Humble Games restructuring on Coral Island remains uncertain for all things related to consoles, whether porting or pushing hotfixes, as they are responsible for these platforms. We've been in communication with our lawyers since we found out about the restructuring on social media. That's what I wanted to touch on that. Imagine finding out that your publisher is just done through a Twitter post. Like, you don't even hear from them. You don't even get an email saying,
fighting.
Hey,
we're fighting when I see you. We're fighting.
Like, that's wild for them to just be like, I mean, and again, that's not on the employees. That's on whoever, like, did the laying off at IGN through IGN Entertainment. Like, there should have been like, hey, okay, we need to send an email out to all of the games we're doing publishing for. And that did not happen. That's wild. Because typically with a layoff, they're just like, pack up and leave, you know?
Right.
So that's not on the employees. That's on whoever the higher up was that just like, all right, everyone leave. Like, crazy.
We'll figure it out later.
For example, we have an upcoming hotfix for the 1.1 update nearing release for Steam. We have no idea how to get this update out to other platforms players, as we don't have the backend permission on console platforms to push updates out. We only have access to the Steam backend. Because of this, the only thing we can do for Switch backers, effective immediately, is offer a key change to the Steam platform. We will offer key changes for as long as we're able to. Please email us for a key change. You can also join our Discord server. So basically, they're saying, hey, because this was originally a Kickstarter where they raised $1.5 million, where they reached their goal and a bunch of stretch goals. So it came out on console. It's supposed to come out on consoles and Switch and PC everywhere. They're basically saying, hey, if you backed us on the Kickstarter for Switch, sorry, we can't publish it to Switch. So email us so we can send you a Steam key. It's like, well, what if they don't have a Steam Deck? What if they don't have a PC? Like, what?
What if I wanted it on my Switch?
What if you just want it on your Switch? And now you can't get it.
I can't do that?
Oh, I feel so bad for Stairway Games, because that puts them in such a pinch, like like a rock and a hard place with that situation. And this is my favorite part. We'll keep you posted on developments once we have more information. Pardon my French here, but that's editorial from Garrett here. We know it fucking sucks, but we hope you understand. Thanks.
It does. It does, big time.
I love how just like blunt they are in their official public statement, and they're just like,
I'm not mad at them. I'm pissed off for them. Yeah. I really am.
Absolutely wild. So Humble Games lied, because again, they put their official statement is ongoing and upcoming games are still going to move ahead, be published, everything's business as usual. And then like 3 days later, Coral Island developer over their Stairway Games is like, excuse me, knock, knock, knock. Anyone home? We want to publish an update.
We'd like to
game on
continue
Switch.
To make our game, please.
Wild. I don't know what.
I don't have a whole lot of stuff to say about this, except this is really slimy, and I
100%.
hate that this team was affected by this harshly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so tired of people getting taken advantage of in this industry, and we've been seeing it all year, from the layoffs, the random shutdowns, all this. And this is unfortunately another casualty to just add to the incredibly long list of people who have lost their jobs in an industry that they're passionate about. And because the company knows that they're passionate about it, they know they can take advantage of people. So
yeah.
My heart goes out to anybody who was affected by this, of course. And I'm sure it's going to be tough, but there are a lot of good people in the working level in this industry who want to see their peers win. So I'm sure people are reaching out to people who used to work at Humble and are helping them find, a new gig. So
yeah, I feel bad for the employees who got let go, and then all the developers that were working with Humble Games. Like, man, what a crappy situation for all of them.
I would want out immediately. Whatever deal we had, absolutely not. You are not publishing anything anymore.
That's the only reason I can think why in their official statement they say we're not shutting down, we're restructuring. Because legally, if they shut down, I'm sure it null and voids all those contracts. Where if they're restructuring, even if they never come back, or maybe it comes back and they just hire one dude to run the company, basically it's like it's just a way to legally keep all those contracts intact so people can't get out of them without breaking the contract. Like the studio would have to break it, like, or and probably pay some penalty or fee or something in order to leave the contract. So it's slimy in that way too. Again, that's speculation. I don't have any confirmation on that, but I would not be surprised if that's the reason. Their official statement is that we're restructuring, so that way they can keep those contracts alive, and they don't take any penalty from it. And if the people want to get out of it, well, then they get penalty.
Good luck.
The developers, these indie developers who are already barely getting by to make their passion project, they're getting dinged. Wild.
It's just a crazy world we live in, man.
Absolutely. So yeah, you said it best though. I agree with everything you said. I hope you guys all get back on your feet, and you developer studios, I hope you can figure out a way through this, because it's a crappy
and don't
situation.
let this incident, I know it's tough, and I'm speaking of course from the outside of a person who's not necessarily not in the industry, but just like an observer. Please don't let this jade you. We need people like you guys. We need game developers. We need people who are creative to continue to make things. So don't let this get you down if you've been affected. Just remember why you got into it and kind of let that be your guide,
Yep. 100%. Thank you so much for watching that clip from our podcast. Remember, if you want to watch the whole episode, the full episode, link will be in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. We got listener questions. We got more news segments. We got what you playing. We got a lot of fun things. So yeah, more than just the news. There's a lot more to the show that you should go check out. So remember, click that link in the description. Check out that full episode.